I thought glasses for the butt.
What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Whoa.
It's you, yeah. Let's see, baby.
Do you think that they should offer sex education back in schools?
It's not in schools no more?
No.
Like, not even high school? There's no sex ed?
Well, not.
Where? In New York? Where you from? Because
Exactly.
they don't do it down here either?
I don't remember it being here anymore either. They used to send a little pamphlet home and your parent would have to sign it for you to be in it.
So many parents stopped signing it.
The only one I signed, I believe, was with my oldest daughter. She's 21 now.
They don't do it anymore.
And I haven't signed it. My middle daughter's 14. And I haven't heard anything about sex education classes. And my youngest daughter is 11.
Now, I would say
about it.
They said that they stopped supposedly because they feel like that's encouraging children or making them curious.
And that was some dumbass parent that said that because, number one, I do feel like the sex education should start at home. I definitely feel that way. But you got so many of these new generation young parents that they didn't have the right education on it, or they're a product of their environment, and their environment wasn't so great. But so they didn't have the education. They got pregnant young, and then of course they're gonna teach the same things to their kids. So I used to feel like it really should start at home, but you just can't trust all the parents out here these days. But it should definitely be in school. I don't care if it's encouraging them or not. I'd prefer my child to be educated on it. I was educated on it by my parents and by school. So, of course, I'm going to take that education to my child when the time comes. But I wouldn't want kids in general to only have one source of education when it comes to sex, either their parents or the school. I feel like the community should make a joint effort.
I think that what they should teach in school as far as sex education is the stuff that's going to scare the shit out of them. Teach them about all the sexually transmitted diseases. Have a class about that.
But you know what? That's not even what kept me from having sex. I didn't lose my virginity until maybe like February that year that I turned 18. I lost it like 2 months before my birthday. And it wasn't because of diseases and stuff. Like that's not what kept me from it. It was because of home, the parenting that I received. My mother was very involved in the church, so she always kept us on that strong line of, following, certain rules because there are consequences to them. And not worldly consequences, more like I was afraid that God would let something bad happen to me. Like the first time I fucked, if I wasn't married, he would let me catch something. Condoms don't protect from herpes, so, I may have worn a condom to not get a bitch pregnant, but he would allow some form of, consequence for me breaking that vow of, not having sex until I'm married. That's what kept me from doing it.
I mean, I definitely believe it starts at home, and the parents.
And then it was also not having
those
those resources in that allotted time. Like my parents had a pretty strict schedule. One parent usually got home shortly after I came home from school, so I didn't have that open window to be sneaking bitches in. And you know what I'm saying, late at night, even though my parents had a big ass house, we had a huge amount of space in between us. They still had me in that safe zone of I'd rather not, because I don't want to suffer any consequences. Like my mother instilled it to the point where I ain't want to suffer consequences from God, and my father and my stepmother instilled it where I didn't want to suffer consequences from them. So I ain't want to get caught. I never knew how sleep they really were, how hard they really slept. I know damn well if I hear something in the house, I wake the fuck up. So I just couldn't imagine that they wouldn't hear if I snuck somebody over. I had a couple chances though, but I never took it. When did y'all lose y'all? Did y'all wait? What kept y'all? Let me not do this.
I was 13 when I lost my virginity.
You nasty.
I was 14 when I got pregnant, and
Ooh.
15 when I had her.
Wow. But you know what? The only thing I like about...
The crazy thing is that's my exact story. I lost my virginity at 13, got pregnant at 14, had my daughter at 15.
Wow. Y'all environment was rough.
But
it really wasn't. It wasn't. My environment
just
wasn't
y'all's
rough
choice.
at all. It was just like I was curious because
that's what it was.
I had a lot of my friends.
That's what kept me from doing it. I felt like just being curious, I would still get... something bad would still happen.
I was always hanging around older girls.
Oh, so it was a little bit of being fast mixed with just being curious.
Even at 13, I had 16, 17, 18-year-old friends because I was always a little more mature. Mm-hmm. So I always hung with older girls.
Naturally, those was your best friends.
Right.
Anyways.
And, they were always talking about sex this, sex that, sex. And I was like, well... if they always talking about it, I want to see what it's about. So I ended up having sex and lost my virginity. And the funny thing about it is the guy that I lost my virginity to at 13 was whack as fuck. Like, we had sex, even though I didn't really know what it was. But
You can still tell it wasn't
at the
good.
end, I was like,
this is sex?
this is what they bragging about?
This is sex?
If that's
This is
the
what
case,
you bitches
I
been
don't
doing?
want that. Yeah, I'm like,
I don't want to do this.
This is boring. So when I lost my virginity at 13, I actually didn't have sex again until I was 14. So my second time ever having sex, I got pregnant.
Damn. The first time I had it, the girl, like I said, I was 17. I was about to be 18. The girl I lost my virginity to, she said that there's no way I was a virgin. Mind you, this was car sex. I was sitting down and she was just bouncing up and down on top of me. I didn't even get to come. I wasted a good condom.
It's not much effort in that.
That's what I'm saying. But she was like, well, she said that after we actually started fucking, like the next time we had sex and we actually got to do different positions, she was like, nah, there's no way you was a virgin. I'm like, the only reason you don't think so is because I've watched a lot of fucking porn. But anyways, back to what y'all was saying, the thing that I do love about y'all's story, it's good that it just came from curiosity. It's bad that y'all weren't educated enough to not have those mistakes. But another good part of that is y'all are some bomb ass moms. Like that's what I be hoping for with the generation and getting pregnant early and being young parents. I be hoping that it wake them the fuck up. And like those are the only times I be like, well,
being a young parent, like you gotta have a support system. Like I definitely had support from my parents.
yeah, you was telling me that earlier. Yeah.
Like realistically, having a child at 14, 13, 15, 16 as a teenager, if you don't have that support system, it's a lot of stuff that you haven't developed and you don't know because you're still a child yourself. So you're not going to be able to give those things to your child.
Facts.
In my situation, I was still able to go away to college, and my parents kept my daughter from me. So
where is y'all's connection at? Is your daughter more attached to your parents or to you, or did y'all's bond grow the older she got and the more time you had for her?
The more time we spent and the older she got, we got closer.
And did she naturally begin to understand the
she respects me
situation?
still as a mother, but our relationship is more like a sisterhood.
Y'all sound like y'all got such a dope relationship. And then I didn't know, like, when you say her age, I still don't be realizing, like, oh, damn, you must have had her in high school. Like, I still didn't make that connection. But, yeah, that definitely makes sense now.
And then, like, even when I was pregnant in high school, I was 5 months when I told my parents I was pregnant. And the only reason why I decided to tell my parents that I was pregnant when I did was because my gym teacher noticed my stomach.
Oh, so you were scared that your gym teacher was
No, my gym teacher told my principal. I got called to the principal's office, and the principal told me that if I didn't tell my parents that weekend, she was going to call my parents. So I was forced to tell my parents that weekend.
See, that's a good principle. Made your ass do that shit.
My mom told me I was pregnant. Thing about it, though, is I was, like, newly pregnant. Like, newly.
Your mama was one of them kind of moms
when
that
I say
knew.
newly pregnant, she took me to go get the pregnancy test. And when we was sitting there and they asked me, like, when was my last period and all of that other good stuff, this, that, and the third. When they did their little calculations,
Your
however
mom
they
was
do
answering the questions.
I was answering the questions. But after they did their calculations, I was only 2 weeks pregnant. When I say new, like, them motherfuckers had just met the fuck up. The egg and the sperm, they had just collided. I was that new. And my mom was like, you pregnant? I'm like, nah, I ain't having sex. What you talking about?
Bullshit. Your ass pregnant.
Bullshit. Pregnant as hell.
That
Pregnant
is
as hell.
crazy.
Pregnant as a motherfucker. I was sitting here like, little raggedy ass nigga.
Did you know you was pregnant?
I had no clue. I didn't know.
Okay.
I
So
ain't
you
know.
didn't know that you had
No.
messed up. You didn't know you
I
had
didn't
made a
know.
mistake.
I didn't know.
When I found out I was pregnant, I had went with one of my homegirls to the free clinic, and she thought she was pregnant. So I just took the pregnancy test just because she was taking one. She was like, yo, Meeks, take one too. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm about to. Her shit came back negative. My shit came back positive.
That's how I found out I was pregnant with my second one,
That
with my
is
best
funny
friend,
as hell.
because
Like,
she was
bitch,
scared to
this
take
is-
it. I said,
what
I'll
the
take
fuck
it
kind
with
of shit is
you.
that?
Her shit came back negative. My shit came back positive.
How would you describe that though? Like you have your sons and you're raising them from birth, but having your daughter and having the privilege to be able to still finish doing some of the things you need to get done before you should have been a parent. How would you compare the bonds though? Like, I know you
At
said
that
she still
time,
respects
I
you
thought
as a
that I
mother,
was
but
grown
it's
because I was considered a mother because I gave birth to a child. But I
Your
know
mindset
mentally,
was still different, though.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't there. When I went upstate to college, I left my daughter with my mother. She came out there with me, and I still wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I ended up sending her back to my mother. So I don't feel like I committed myself to be 100% a mother until I had my second
But
child.
you started having those urges in, you know, the sense of responsibility and obligation, but it just wasn't set in.
It wasn't.
Because I felt like that with my daughter. I'm not gonna say that my daughter totally turned me around. I was already in the process of, you know, turning my life around and getting my shit together.
I don't feel like my motherly instinct was there with my daughter. I just feel like I was more so a provider, and I wanted her to be flashy and fly because that was my daughter, and my daughter had to be fly. As far as like an emotional attachment, like that motherly intuition, I didn't feel
Not
it.
yet.
Like it wasn't there. Like I didn't. It's not the way now it is, but then it wasn't the way that I felt when I had my boys, and I feel like it was that way only because I was so young. Like, did I love her? Yeah, of course I loved her. But it wasn't that motherly love. It was like, oh, okay, she's a baby. She's cute. Oh, I love her. Oh, look, I got a baby.
Yeah,
like,
she mine.
Yeah, like, she belonged to me. That's all me right there. Like, I did that.
So let me do what mothers do. Let me go work and make money and make her look good.
Like, when I went away to college, time spent from her, I wasn't, like, depressed and sad. Like, oh, I want to see my baby. I miss my baby.
Like, not seeing my baby.
But time spent away from my boys... It takes a toll on me mentally. It takes a toll on me physically. Like, I'm like, yo, I need to see my kids. I need to speak to my kids. I need to have my kids with me. I need to be around them. I need to make sure they're good. But with my daughter, my mindset wasn't the same.
Now that she's older and pretty much grown, she's 19, right?
Yeah, she's 19.
Have y'all had the conversation of, you know, what happened, the age, you know, what was going on? You know, did you have like a sense of, I should apologize to my child because I wasn't the best parent at that time?
We never had that conversation. I just feel like she knows how old I am and she knows how old she is, so she could figure it out.
But you don't feel like there's like any sense of wondering about it, though?
My daughter never missed out on nothing. Like, she had everything that she needed from me. My ex-husband stepped up and he did what he had to do for her, and then she had my parents, and my parents held me down. Like, I was an extremely spoiled child. My siblings was extremely spoiled. Like, whatever we wanted, we got.
Yeah, because
and
I
that's
definitely
why
feel
I am
like
the way that I am today. So my daughter, even though I wasn't the mother that I should have been for her, she had her grandparents.
She still was good,
Yeah,
though.
like, she ain't never lacked nothing. Like, she went to a Montessori school. Like, she did private school. Like,
doctor,
now, if you ask her that question, her response may be different.
Different, yeah.
But she never made that, or she never made me think or made it a known issue to me, or her behaviors. Only thing that I could say is, people may think she probably experienced something or been through something because she's gay. But I knew.
I didn't see that when I seen that picture of your daughter. I thought maybe she was a little tomboyish.
No, she's
but
gay.
I really,
She's 100%
I really
gay.
felt like when I seen her picture, I really felt like it was an off guard picture. I really didn't even get the impression that she was a tomboy. I really just felt like
But the crazy thing is that
she
I
just
knew
wasn't
she was gonna
into-
be gay since she was little.
How?
Like, I would always joke and be like, yo, she's gonna be gay. Like, she likes girl. Like, she's never liked girly things. She's always been like a tomboy, and even like just her demeanor and the way that she handled things, the things that she liked, the things that she didn't like. Like, I knew that she was gonna be a more masculine individual.
And you were saying about your daughter, Gemz?
Yeah, my oldest daughter, she's gay too. She's 21.
Your daughter is 20 fucking
She's
one.
21.
You have to tell me who your daughter is so that I don't cross any lines with you. No, like seriously, because you're very pretty.
I'll make sure,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
she is too. But yeah, it's a little different from me. And how she said she didn't have that motherly instinct, it didn't kick in for her. It did kick in for me. So it was like when I brought her home from the hospital, my mom had took the baby monitor and put it in her room. And every time she cried, my mom would come running into the room. And I'm like, I got it. I'm good. Like, this is my daughter. I can do this. Like, leave us alone. Let us bond. You know, you'll get your time. I did have a moment where she did live with my mom. I moved, and she did live with my mom for maybe about a year. And the only reason why that happened was I didn't want to move her in the middle of the school year. So I